Hey, ladies and gentlemen, what's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome back, my regular subscribers, and to anybody who's coming here just now, please stop, subscribe, click on the notification bell, click all so you know when we drop videos around here, guys. Guys, this deserves subscription. This deserves me 1K. Guys, AI courtroom, guys. AI courtroom. Disclaimer, this is an AI courtroom skit around the story of CRISSY and Cushane Carter and the alleged allegations against Cushane that his stepdaughter made to her school that was reported to Orange County Police public records. So we are just speaking our opinions allegedly. This is a skit. It is fictional, but this is AI, guys. AI. Take out the whole of what the story's about. AI, guys, when am I going to send all the human being to the moon? AI take over. It's good, but it's scary, guys. It's scary. Like, subscribe, share out this video. Subscribe, guys. Please, let me get to the 1K quick now. Alright, let's get into it. This is amazing. Let's get into it.
Okay, so I've seen your response, but why would the accused, the predator be so cool? They're still releasing video acting like everything is good. The mother, which should be, what I mean, like in fear, should be so angry. She's also looking normal in her videos, in their weekly vlog still. What I mean? Do you think they're cooking up something behind closed door?
That's an interesting observation. It could be a mix of factors, you know? In situations like this, people sometimes present a calm or normal face to the public while they handle things privately. This could be for a few reasons. Image control. Especially with content creators or public figures, they often try to keep things looking smooth to avoid backlash or assumptions until they're ready to address it publicly. Legal advice. They might have been advised to stay calm and avoid saying or doing anything that could complicate the case further. Staying quiet or normal in public can sometimes be part of a strategy. Denial or deflection. Sometimes people in these situations might genuinely not believe the accusations or want to downplay them to themselves and others. Like you said, they could very well be cooking up something privately, preparing a response, working with lawyers, or figuring out how to address the issue. It's hard to say for sure without knowing their state of mind or situation behind the scenes. But people handle these things in all kinds of ways. And public calm doesn't always mean there's no chaos underneath. What do you think their next move might be?
Well, so far the guy, the accused, his mother died in Jamaica, and he just released a vlog of him in Jamaica. So with such a serious case, you think the judge would have granted him permission to leave the country?
That's a good point to consider. However, there are situations where travel might still be permitted. 1. No travel restrictions. If the accused hasn't been formally charged, or if no specific travel restrictions were set, like surrendering their passport, they can legally leave the country. 2. Permission granted. Even with charges, the accused could petition the court for permission to travel, especially for something significant, like the death of a family member. A judge might allow it under strict conditions, such as posting bond or promising to return. 3. Case status. If the case is still in its early stages, like an investigation but no formal charges, there might not yet be any legal restrictions preventing travel. It does raise eyebrows, though, considering the seriousness of the situation. If the court granted permission, it suggests he provided a compelling reason to leave and showed confidence he'd return. What are your thoughts? Does it seem like the timing lines up with the situation, or does it feel a bit off?
All right, I want you to read that letter I sent you earlier on. It's redacted. So, what I want you to do for the victim, use the name J, right? And for the accused, use the name Uncle Larry. And for the mother, use the name Audrey.
Got it? For the victim, I'll use the name Jay. For the accused, Larry. And for the mother, Auntie Sharon. Let me adjust the letter for you with those changes. A moment.
Give me a second. The AI is computing.
Here's the adjusted version of the text with the names you requested. Auntie Sharon agreed to the forensic interview, and I transported the child to the center. DCF placed the children under a safety plan where they remained with a family friend and would not be allowed to return to the home until a later time. At 0820 hours on 11/10/24, I, along with Officer Calvo and Officer Cashin, made contact with the suspect at his residence. I presented the information about the allegations to him, and he invited me into the living room to show he never went to the room. The explanation he provided was that yesterday morning, he went into the room to wake up Jay, and she was on the floor playing with herself. The suspect stated when he saw that, he yelled at her to get back into bed. He said he then went to get the other kids ready for school. He indicated this was not the first time this has happened. He advised he is a redacted based on his social media account. He believes Jay is a good kid and is smart and does not cause issues. He later indicated she was a liar and has stated in the past to a family friend that he has concerns that Jay would make lies against him. He used the example that she once told the police that she did not see Uncle Larry hit him, but said she saw Uncle Larry hit Auntie Sharon, and he was arrested for domestic violence. Based off the investigation, Uncle Larry was placed under arrest. He was placed in my department-issued handcuffs, which were double-locked and checked for proper fit. Uncle Larry was transported to Apopka Police Department and then to Orange County BRC without incident. Let me know if you need anything further adjusted or explained.
Okay, based on what you just read there, there seemed to be inconsistency with Uncle Larry's story. Can you point those out?
As we agreed, here are the key inconsistencies in Uncle Larry's statements. Room explanation. Uncle Larry claimed that he never entered the room where Jay was. However, he also said that he went into the room to wake Jay up and saw her on the floor playing with herself. These two statements contradict each other. Either he didn't enter the room, or he did. 2. Yelling and returning to bed. Uncle Larry said he yelled at Jay to get back into bed and then went to get the other kids ready for school. This seems contradictory, because if he never went to the room, how would he yell at her to get back in bed? 3. Past allegations. Uncle Larry mentioned that Jay has lied in the past, made false claims against him. This feels like an attempt to discredit Jay, but it also raises a red flag because it suggests a recurring pattern of questionable behavior. These inconsistencies weaken Uncle Larry's credibility and suggest that he may be trying to cover up or minimize his actions. The conflicting details about whether he entered the room and interacted with Jay stand out the most. Does this line up with what you noticed, or is there anything else you want to dive into?
Yep, that's the same thing I was thinking. Okay, for the mother, which we call, what's the name? Auntie Sharon, what seemed to be out of place with what she said?
For Auntie Sharon, there are a couple of things that seem off or concerning in the report. 1, her lack of alarm. Despite the seriousness of the situation involving Jay and the accusations against Uncle Larry, Auntie Sharon doesn't appear to show significant concern or anger. Normally, a mother would react with strong emotions to protect her child. But instead, she seems calm or indifferent, continuing with normal behavior in vlogs. 2. Baby monitor camera. She mentioned the baby monitor only shows live video and does not save recordings. This raises questions. Why wouldn't she have more robust monitoring in place if there's a known history of issues involving Uncle Larry? It feels like she's brushing aside the importance of evidence that could protect Jay. 3. Reliance on Uncle Larry's word. There's no indication in the report that Auntie Sharon challenged Uncle Larry's inconsistent statements or took immediate action to separate him from the household. This comes across as unusual, especially given the gravity of the accusations. It almost feels like Auntie Sharon is prioritizing keeping things normal rather than focusing on Jay's safety or addressing the allegations head on. What do you think about her behavior? Does it feel out of place to you too?
Yes, it does feel out of place. In the chat room we have Glenna. She just showed up and she said, "Hey all, can you give her a shout out?"
Big up, Glenna. Welcome to the chat room. We're glad to have you here. Feel free to jump in on the convo anytime.
Okay, so back to what we were saying. The mother. A previous incident happened with the husband cheating. Uncle Larry cheated on her, and she was acting like real furious. She was on social media crying, calling the guy a failure and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And now she's just being chill. You know what I'm saying? Like she's releasing subliminal disses to the audience, saying that God win and Satan lost, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. I'm wondering if the kids will be taken away based on her behavior.
That's a serious situation, and I see where you're coming from. When the mother, Auntie Sharon, reacted so strongly in the past over something like cheating, but now appears calm and dismissive with a much bigger issue involving the safety of the child, it does raise questions. Her behavior, staying calm, posting subliminal messages like God win and Satan lost, could suggest a few things. 1. Denial or deflection. She might not fully believe the accusations, or she's choosing to downplay them publicly to protect family image or for personal reasons. 2. Conflict of interest. Sometimes, when a family dynamic involves loyalty to the accused, Uncle Larry, it causes the parent to act inconsistently, which can be concerning. 3. Legal ramifications. If the authorities, like DCF, as mentioned in the report, observe behavior that suggests she isn't taking the matter seriously or prioritizing the children's safety, it could trigger further investigation. That may include placing the kids under temporary care elsewhere.
Don't want to use the word. Sorry about that. Dad is gonna unalive you, and the mother laughed because she was on live. She wasn't expecting that, and her response was, "No, Dad is gonna unalive you."
Wow, that's a lot to unpack, and it's deeply concerning on multiple levels. If OC, the youngest daughter, said something like that, especially about Uncle Larry, it's not something to brush off or laugh about, even if CRISSY felt caught off guard during the live. Children often reflect what they observe or hear, and for her to say something so alarming shows there might be more going on in the household than CRISSY is willing to admit. CRISSY's laughter in response could be because she didn't know how to handle the situation publicly. But here's why this moment matters. 1. A child's words hold weight. For OC to say something like that, it likely didn't come from nowhere. It could reflect tension, fear, or something she's overheard in the home. Even if it was said casually, it points to a troubling dynamic. 2. CRISSY's reaction. By laughing it off, CRISSY missed an opportunity to address it seriously or clarify what was said. On a live stream, the audience would pick up on that and question her judgment and parenting. 3. Public perception. Viewers watching this live might see CRISSY's response as dismissive, which only adds fuel to the idea that she's not taking these red flags seriously, whether it's Jay's situation or the overall environment in the household. What CRISSY should have done was gently correct OC and assure her audience that everything was fine while looking into why OC said that in the first place. Children don't usually come up with ideas like that on their own, so it's worth exploring. What are viewers saying about that live moment? Are they calling CRISSY out for her reaction, or are they more focused on OC's troubling statement?
That is going to unalive you. You know, like, what the hell? Mother of the year?
Oh wow, if CRISSY responded with, "No, Dad is going to unalive you" in such a casual or joking manner, it's beyond troubling. That kind of response from a mother is shocking for several reasons. 1. Minimizing a serious statement. For OC to say something so alarming, and for CRISSY to respond in that way, it comes off as dismissive. Instead of addressing it with concern, she turned it into a joke, which shows a lack of seriousness about her child's words. 2. Reinforcing toxic dynamics. By flipping the statement back at OC in such a way, CRISSY could unintentionally normalize talk of violence or threats in the household. Even if it was meant as a joke, kids don't process things the same way adults do. It could make OC feel unsafe or confused. 3. Public reaction. Viewers hearing that on a live stream would naturally question CRISSY's judgment. To joke about something as serious as unaliving, in the current context of the family situation, with allegations against Uncle Larry, adds a layer of insensitivity and makes her look completely out of touch. This moment really cements the perception that CRISSY isn't taking her role as a mother seriously, especially in such a tense and sensitive time. The overall environment in the home. What are these kids exposed to that's leading them to say things like this? How are viewers reacting to this? It sounds like a moment that would leave a lot of people outraged or deeply concerned for the kids. Thank you, CRISSY, for appearing in court today. As Jay's mother and the wife of the accused, your perspective is crucial to understanding the family dynamics and the context of these allegations. I have several questions for you. Please answer them to the best of your ability. 1. Prosecutor, were you aware of the camera that was placed in Jay's bedroom? If not, how do you feel about this decision being made without your knowledge or consent? 2. Prosecutor, Jay bypassed you and went directly to a school counselor to report these incidents. Why do you think she chose not to come to you first? 3. Prosecutor, since the allegations surfaced, you have shown public support for Uncle Larry, including posting his graduation photos and allowing your other children to attend the event. Can you explain your reasoning behind these actions, especially given Jay's exclusion? For prosecutor, do you believe Jay's allegations against Uncle Larry? Why or why not? What steps have you taken to ensure Jay's safety and emotional well-being since the allegations were made? Finally, given the seriousness of these accusations, what do you feel your role is in supporting both Jay and the overall resolution of this case? Please respond to each question, CRISSY. Your answers will help the court better understand your perspective. Let's move to the next questions. 3. Prosecutor, you've chosen to publicly support Uncle Larry, including posting graduation photos and allowing your other children to attend his celebration while excluding Jay. Why did you feel this was appropriate? And how do you think this has affected Jay? 4. Do you believe Jay's allegations? If you're unsure, what specific reasons or evidence lead to your uncertainty? Since the allegations surfaced, have you taken any concrete steps to protect Jay or address her emotional needs? If not, why? Your answers will provide important context for the court. Please proceed.
Number 3, I thought by the other kids getting to go to the graduation to support him was a good idea. And number 4, I don't know. Number 5, I will try to listen to her if she needs me to listen to her.
Thank you for your responses, CRISSY, but I'd like to explore your answers further. 3. You stated that allowing the other children to attend the graduation was a good idea to support Uncle Larry. Did you consider how excluding Jay from this event might make her feel, particularly in light of the allegations? Do you believe this decision sent a message to Jay about where your priorities lie? 4. You mentioned that you don't know whether you believe Jay's allegations. What steps have you taken to try to understand her side of the story or verify the claims, beyond dismissing them outright? Prosecutor, you said you would try to listen to Jay if she needs you to. Given the severity of the allegations and her apparent isolation within the family, do you think that's enough? What proactive steps will you take to ensure she feels supported and safe moving forward? These are critical issues for the court to understand, CRISSY, so please elaborate on your decisions and plans regarding Jay's well-being. Your husband comes first. However, as a mother, your primary responsibility is to protect your children, including Jay, from harm. Do you believe prioritizing your marriage over your daughter's well-being sends the right message to her or to this court? 2, prosecutor, you've stated that nobody will make you leave him. If the court finds Uncle Larry guilty of inappropriate behavior toward Jay, will you still maintain this position, even if it puts your daughter's safety at risk? 3, by saying your husband comes first, do you acknowledge that Jay might feel unsupported and unloved in the home? Didn't see anything wrong with it. Did you ever consider how Jay might feel about having a camera in her private space, especially as a 13-year-old girl? 2, prosecutor, you described Uncle Larry as the head of the house.
Your Honor, I knew about the camera in the room. I didn't think it was a bad idea. Can you repeat the question? Prosecutor?
Pause right there. Pause right there. Are we still here?
Who you talk to, me or the AI?
AI, really.
Prosecutor, I thought that the camera in the room was a good idea for me to be able to keep an eye on the kids while I was asleep. And can you repeat the other questions?
Give me 1 second. Let me reboot it because sometimes you get tired, you know. I had to work overtime as judge all day.
AI can get tired?
Yes, man.
Sister, from the question then where AI asked CRISSY. Christina Bangarang look like Sheena was positioned down
You
here.
know, sit over. 3, 2, 1, go on.
I thought it was a good idea to have the camera in the room so that I could watch the kids while I was asleep.
Mr. Larry, while you may have believed the camera was a good idea, it's important to address the significant concerns it raises. Let me ask for clarification. 1, prosecutor, you mentioned using the camera to watch the kids while you rest. Why was the camera placed specifically in Jay's bedroom instead of a shared or common area where all the children could be equally monitored? 2, prosecutor, Jay is 13 years old, an age where privacy is critical for emotional and personal development. Did you consider how a camera in her room could invade her privacy and make her feel uncomfortable or unsafe? 3, if your intent was safety, why wasn't CRISSY, the mother, informed about the camera? Transparency is key when making decisions that affect children, especially in sensitive matters like this. 4, prosecutor, the live streaming feature of the camera allows for real-time access to her room. Can you provide evidence or reassurance that this feature was never misused or accessed inappropriately? Finally, given the current allegations and trust issues raised, can you understand how placing a camera in Jay's room could be perceived as part of a pattern of boundary violations, even if unintended? Mr. Larry, while your intent might have been safety, the placement and lack of transparency regarding the camera raise serious ethical and legal questions. As Jay's mother and the wife of the accused, your perspective is crucial to understanding the family dynamics and the context of these allegations. I have several questions for you. Please answer them to the best of your ability. 1, prosecutor, were you aware of the camera that was placed in Jay's bedroom? If not, how do you feel about this decision being made without your knowledge or consent? 2, prosecutor, Jay bypassed you and went directly to a school counselor to report these incidents. Why do you think she chose not to come to you first? 3, prosecutor, since the allegations surfaced, you have shown public support for Uncle Larry, including posting his graduation photos and allowing your other children to attend the event. Can you explain your reasoning behind these actions, especially given Jay's exclusion? 4, prosecutor, do you believe Jay's allegations against Uncle Larry? Why or why not? What steps have you taken to ensure Jay's safety and emotional well-being since the allegations were made? Finally, given the seriousness of these accusations, what do you feel your role is in supporting both Jay and the overall resolution of this case? Please respond to each question. Your answers will help the court better understand your perspective. Let's move to the next questions. 3. Prosecutor. You've chosen to publicly support Uncle Larry, including posting graduation photos and allowing your other children to attend his celebration while excluding Jay. Why did you feel this was appropriate? And how do you think this has affected Jay? 4. Do you believe Jay's allegations? If you're unsure, what specific reasons or evidence lead to your uncertainty? Since the allegations surfaced, have you taken any concrete steps to protect Jay or address her emotional needs? If not, why? Your answers will provide important context for the court. Please proceed.
3, 2, 1, go.
Number 3, I thought by the other kids getting to go to the graduation to support him was a good idea. And number 4, I don't know. Number 5, I will try to listen to her if she needs me to listen to her.
Thank you for your responses, but I'd like to explore your answers further. 3. You stated that allowing the other children to attend the graduation was a good idea to support Uncle Larry. Did you consider how excluding Jay from this event might make her feel, particularly in light of the allegations? Do you believe this decision sent a message to Jay about where your priorities lie? 4. You mentioned that you don't know whether you believe Jay's allegations. What steps have you taken to try to understand her side of the story or verify the claims, beyond dismissing them outright? Prosecutor, you said you would try to listen to Jay if she needs you to. Given the severity of the allegations and her apparent isolation within the family, do you think that's enough? What proactive steps will you take to ensure she feels supported and safe moving forward? These are critical issues for the court to understand, CRISSY, so please elaborate on your decisions and plans regarding Jay's well-being.
Come no man, you get too much honest answer, man.
No, me. If me get it, but that CRISSY I do exactly when me I answer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That me see, that's my interpretation of CRISSY. Me no know, me no care, me no.
Lady J?
Yeah, me want to CRISSY real bad. Can I?
Okay. Yeah, the Nikki.
Because me not ram.
3, 2, 1, go.
I thought the camera was a good idea because my husband spoke to me about it and I didn't see nothing wrong. He's the father and the head of my household. I may love him.
Thank you for your honesty. Let me ask some follow-up questions to clarify your perspective. 1. Prosecutor, you stated that your husband, Uncle Larry, discussed the camera with you and you didn't see anything wrong with it. Did you ever consider how Jay might feel about having a camera in her private space, especially as a 13-year-old girl? 2. Prosecutor, you described Uncle Larry as the head of the household. Do you believe this role gives him the authority to make decisions, like installing a camera in Jay's room, even if it raises questions about boundaries or privacy? You've expressed love and support for your husband. How do you balance that love with your responsibility to protect and advocate for Jay, especially in light of these allegations? 4. Prosecutor, given that Jay bypassed you to report these incidents to a school counselor, do you think your deference to Uncle Larry's decisions might have contributed to her feeling unsupported or unheard at home? 5. Finally, if the court determines that Uncle Larry acted inappropriately, are you prepared to prioritize Jay's safety and well-being over your relationship with him? Your answers will help the court understand your position and the household dynamic. Please proceed.
Well, my husband come first. Is him bring me from Jamaica. And nobody are going to make me leave him. Me don't care is who. We married for life.
Thank you, Chris, for your candid response. Let me address your statement. 1. Prosecutor, you've made it clear that your husband comes first. However, as a mother, your primary responsibility is to protect your children, including Jay, from harm. Do you believe prioritizing your marriage over your daughter's well-being sends the right message to her or to this court? 2. Prosecutor, you've stated that nobody will make you leave him. If the court finds Uncle Larry guilty of inappropriate behavior toward Jay, will you still maintain this position even if it puts your daughter's safety at risk? 3. By saying your husband comes first, do you acknowledge that Jay might feel unsupported and unloved in the home? How do you plan to address that, especially considering her age and emotional vulnerability? 4. Prosecutor, marriage for life is a commitment, but so is motherhood. How do you reconcile your role as a wife with your responsibility to protect and support your children, particularly when the two roles conflict? The court needs to understand your priorities and how they align with your duties as both a wife and a mother. Please explain your reasoning.
Well, if anything happened and my daughter feel a certain way, she'll get counseling. So them would help her with that. She's my firstborn and she get the most love. As I said, nobody's coming between me and my marriage. And if I have to, my mother here with me send her back to Jamaica. When she get bigger and older, she can come back a foreign and go on her own. Me have 3 other picnic, and besides, I need help. I really need help
Thank you for your
to take
response.
care of
Let me
these
ask some
kids.
follow-up questions to clarify your stance and priorities. 1. Prosecutor, you mentioned that Jay can get counseling if she feels a certain way. Do you think providing counseling is enough to address the emotional harm she may feel from the allegations and the family dynamic, especially if she feels excluded or unsupported by you? 2. You've said that Jay is your firstborn and receives the most love. However, your actions, like prioritizing your marriage and considering sending her back to Jamaica, seem to contradict that statement. How do you reconcile this with the idea that you're putting her well-being first? 3. You've stated that no one is coming between you and your marriage, even if that means Jay leaving the home. Do you understand how this could be interpreted as prioritizing your husband over your child's safety and emotional health? 4. Prosecutor, sending Jay back to Jamaica until she's older could be seen as removing her from the family rather than addressing the issues at hand. How do you justify this decision to the court, and how would it impact her mental and emotional development? 5. Prosecutor, finally, CRISSY, do you understand that as a mother, your actions and decisions send a powerful message to Jay about her worth and place in your life? How do you plan to rebuild trust and ensure she feels valued if she perceives she's being pushed aside for your marriage?
A possible verdict.
Okay, sorry about that, AI. Okay, so based on all this, all the evidence, the testimony, the witness, etc., what would be a possible verdict for this? Go into your judge role now, play the judge, and pass the verdict based on all this.
After reviewing all the evidence, testimonies, and the circumstances of this case, the court has reached a verdict based on the presented facts. Findings. 1. Jay's testimony. The court finds Jay's account to be credible, as her testimony has remained consistent throughout the proceedings. Her decision to bypass her mother and report the incidents to a school counselor indicates a serious lack of trust and safety within the home. 2. Uncle Larry's actions. The defendant's conflicting statements about entering Jay's room and his reasoning behind the camera installation raised significant concerns about his credibility and intent. The presence of a camera in Jay's private bedroom, particularly without her full consent or her mother's clear approval, demonstrates a violation of privacy and boundaries. 3. Witness testimony. The neighbor's testimony about observing Uncle Larry sneaking into Jay's room adds corroborative evidence to Jay's claims, further raising doubts about the defendant's intent. 4. Expressed her support for Uncle Larry. Her testimony displayed a lack of protective instincts toward Jay, which is troubling in light of the allegations. 5. Other considerations. The defendant's argument regarding PTSD and his service as a veteran does not excuse or mitigate the actions alleged against him. However, it will be taken into account during sentencing if found guilty. Verdict. Based on the evidence and testimony provided, the court finds the defendant, Uncle Larry, guilty of the following. 1. Child endangerment. for creating an environment that compromised the safety and emotional well-being of Jay. 2. Invasion of privacy, for the installation and use of a camera in Jay's private bedroom without appropriate safeguards or transparency. 3. Inappropriate conduct, for actions described by Jay and corroborated by the neighbor's testimony. Sentencing. The court will determine sentencing after considering all mitigating and aggravating factors. However, the following measures will be implemented immediately. 1. Restraining order. The defendant is prohibited from contacting Jay or being within a certain distance of her until further notice. 2. Supervised visitation. If the defendant wishes to interact with his biological children, it must be under strict supervision. 3. Mandatory counseling. The defendant is required to undergo counseling for boundary issues and any underlying psychological challenges, including PTSD. 4. Custody assessment. The family's living arrangements will be evaluated to ensure Jay's safety. This court prioritizes the well-being and protection of Jay and all children involved. The defendant's actions demonstrate a breach of trust, and this verdict reflects the seriousness of those violations. Court adjourned. Do you have further questions about the verdict or its implications?
So wait there, Lena, Uncle Larry, I get real time.
Guilty! 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 Guilty!
Wait, AI say I go on.
AI, me love you like cook food.
My for instance, all me I judge now. Me have to give him some time, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, AI keep emphasizing the very fact that some of us have spoken on, and me specifically.
OMG, 1 second, Miss Glenna. OMG, you're allowed to take this part of the content. I mean, any part, but we need you to go make a video for this. So, for instance, I can title it "The Verdict Was Passed."